Now picture this. There I was, hidden inside of a galleon, about to make the greatest deal of my career. We had every detail accounted for. The distraction, perfect. My escape route, flawless. Everything was rehearsed. Nothing was left to chance. Even my belly was full of grubs, and therefore I was full of tenacity. But if our plan was so perfect, why am I here with you right now? So what about you? What's your story? Oh, I never thought fishing was such a dangerous vocation. Well, it seems we're going to be here for a while. Would you like to hear my story? The whole story? Alright, but before that, this story is sponsored by, John. Yes, this is John, right? John, who may not be in the flesh with us right now, but he is presently in our hearts. So I was fighting the forces of evil on an island when it happened for the third time this day. Yes, my beautiful and lovely ship stuck herself on the island again. And I had to put her back in the water once more. Such is the life of a pirate who owns a ship with its own free will. But on this day, I've had enough. On this day, I decided it was time for my galleon and I to part ways. So obviously I went to Port Merrick and asked Madame Olga if she had a ship for me. Which, of course no, she did not. But she said I should talk to the shipwright. Sure. And we did not really talk, no. Well, if by talking you mean screaming...
What? Did you say something?
But Sharon said, or yelled two things. One, that it would cost money, and two, it would take months to build a new ship. And what she said felt like someone stabbed me directly in my spleen. I fell on my knees and asked Sharon, really? Money? Are you sure? And she said one of the most painful sentences I've ever heard in my life. Yes, Lou, it would cost money. Can you believe it? She actually said that. Excuse me, I don't think I've recovered from that one yet. I thought, well, why not keep my ship? But she was already doing laps around the outpost, which did not give me any hope. So I started making plans for how I was going to earn gold. Plans, eh? The first thing I did was to gamble most of my gold in a game of cards at the tavern. And by most I mean nothing much really. Because in the end, the only things I could bet with were my clothes. And my clothes I successfully lost. But I didn't wander around naked at Port Merrick for too long. No, I wouldn't dare to inflict that on Madame Olga or Larina. I still had my cultist garments from that one time I became part of the great mighty Bogart cult. Second thing I tried was to sing. And I thought the people walking by would be charmed by my beautiful singing capacities. And subsequently they would reward my talent by giving me gold, for instance. However, rejection was the only reward I received. Il était un petit navire, il était un petit... Tough crowd. The third thing I did was to do a quest from the gold hoarders. And that went, well, up until a certain point. I was sent to Lone Cove to solve a riddle. By the way, I still have the riddle on me if you want to read it. Hang on. They didn't check my pockets for weapons. What if we had something we could use to escape? What if, Maybe it's because I don't have pockets, and please, don't ask me where I put this piece of paper. Well, figuring out the riddle was easy. It only took me a day or two, but I found the chest. Or at least that's what I thought. Because you see, as I was digging out the chest, I noticed that... can you stop with the noises, please? Leave these chains alone, would you? So, as I was saying, when I was digging out the chest, I noticed something strange. You see, every now and then, I would hear a cannon explosion, and for some reason, a cannonball would land next to me. Curious, until I realized there was a whole galleon shooting at me. Well, that was rude. And then I couldn't get my chest because every time I tried to get close to it, I would receive a volley of cannonballs. And so, unfortunately, I could not regulate. Hey. What are you doing? No, don't take him. Where are you taking him? I haven't finished my story yet. Well, it looks like it's going to be you and I from now on, John. John, you're not a relative to a certain Kerosene Russell, aren't you? No, I was just asking, don't worry about it. So, where was I? Unfortunately, I could not recuperate my chest, John. And with my pockets still empty, I disheartenedly sailed back to Port Merrick. I asked around if anyone had anything I could do for them, but unfortunately, no one had a quest for me. Oh, don't give me that look, John. I know I could work for the merchants or the hunter's call. But one, I don't like fishing, and two, I don't even think the Merchant Alliance is real. What do they even do, really? Sell spices? And cloth? Who needs cloth? And for what? But that's beside the point, John. Because a kind soul answered my cries for help, actually, a certain Alejandro. He knew me, but I didn't know him. However, that man offered me riches. That man offered me revenge. You see, Alejandro knew me because he used to be a henchman of Pedro Miguel Maria de la Luz Sanchez. Where did... You've seen this, John? Anyway, I wanted to get my revenge on Pedro for a while, because you know, Pedro is my arch nemesis, and the reason my ship has its own free will. But of course you already knew that, John, right? So, Alejandro made me an offer I could not refuse. He separated from Pedro and his crew after a disagreement, to put it lightly, and Alejandro barely escaped alive from that disagreement. He told me the Esperanza was about to pick up some booty at Plunder Valley, where they stashed a lot of gold apparently. Unfortunately, they would be there before us. But if we sailed fast enough, and maybe if we concocted a solid plan on the way, we could steal some of the loot of Pedro and share the plunder, of course. Not only we would both get our revenge, but I would be able to buy a new ship. And without even having a plan, we immediately began to sail to Plunder Valley. Now, I don't want to brag to you, John, but we had a pretty solid plan. But sometimes, plans are meant to be, broke. I don't know where I'm going with that. Before I tell you what happened, John, I have something I want to say. But don't worry if you feel targeted by it, John. I'm talking to the audience right now. So, to all my pirate friends, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, no. Please, if you can turn the sails around, or raise them, do it please. Can you stop looking at the seagulls, or sitting down, doing whatever you are doing? Please help your crewmates. Stop sleeping while there are holes in the ship. And please, pirates, stop falling off the ship over and over, or I swear I will let the sharks eat you this time. Alright, back to the story. Once at Plunder Valley, we left my ship in position for our escape, hidden from the Esperanza and its crew, and I let my cat guard it. Then I helped Alejandro prepare the distractions, which were to explode some black powder kegs at different locations on the island. Then I began to swim. Once I was close to the Esperanza, Alejandro had to set up the first explosion. However, I noticed some of the crew were guarding the bow of the ship, and they were looking at the exact direction I was coming from. So I swam down and held my breath, waiting for the first distraction. And I waited and waited for what seemed to be an eternity. But the crew was still there, at the bow of the ship. And as my life started to flash before my eyes, I realized Alejandro probably never saw me, since I was, underwater. So, without making any noises, I resurfaced slowly. The tension was palpable. I didn't know if the crew would see me first, or if Alejandro would set up the explosion before that. But to my relief, the distraction distracted the crew before they caught me. Then I got on the ship and started to look for the booty. Which wasn't in the captain quarters, no. Then I checked the cargo. And there they were, the beautiful chests. However, I heard some movement upstairs. People were coming. So I hid as best as I could. While I was looking at what was going on, it seemed they were still loading up their stash. But the crew left, and I was alone in there. Now, there was one problem. There were too many chests for me to carry. I didn't know which one I should take, and I only have 2 arms. But I was running out of time, so I picked up the best looking one. I then set up a fire, so Alejandro could trigger the second explosion once he saw the smoke. This was my cue to leave. But when I was about to jump off, the crew saw me. Maybe the fire was more important than the explosions on the island. They looked at me, I looked at them. They looked at me, I looked at them. And I ran off as fast as I could. I saw Pedro on the way, but I didn't care. Alejandro joined me finally, and we were on our way to my ship. We were almost there, full of hope and excitement. But everything came to a crushing halt, because my ship wasn't there anymore. How annoying, Alejandro ran away, but I was exhausted. Oh, and of course, Pedro and his crew caught me. Pour parler. Now, I know what you're going to say, John. I set myself up for failure. I should probably have anchored my ship, and I wouldn't be in prison right now, or whatever this is. But you just don't know how tiring it is to raise an anchor, John. And look at the bright side of all of this. We wouldn't have met each other, John. John, I don't think I will survive this place. Can I be honest with you, John? Alright. I really like you, and I hope we can become friends, John. Really? That means a lot to me, John. I will always be there for you, too. Oh, don't say that. You're going to make me blush, John. Hey, look, there's my cat. Wait, what are you doing here? Did Pedro hurt you? Oh, what's that? A key? But what am I going to do with a key? What's that, John? I should try to open the cell door. Oh, I can't believe it. It actually worked. Such a shame I can't show myself opening the gate. Alright, John, we have to get out of here. And 1, 2, 3, now! I think you didn't understand, John. We have to go. Come on! What's that? What are you saying? No, John, you can't stay here. You're my only friend, John. Come on! They are coming. We have to go now. John, I will never forget you. I will come back and deliver you, I promise. Oh, and that would be the moment where I would say, that will be all for today, pirates. And don't forget to, clean your bones. Au revoir. Alright, where's my ship? Where's my ship? Oh, right there. You know what, ship? I think I still like you. I won't try to replace you, I promise. And one more thing, Pedro, wherever you are now, one day, I will have my revenge.
Un homme